Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punt Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Well, hello and welcome. This is Sports Talk with me, Lewis Connell. And as always, I'm joined by Peter Spencer from Betfred. How are you doing today, Peter?
Yeah, great. Thanks very much.
Well, there's only one place to start, of course. Boss Fred Doan will be very pleased that City have won for his own pocket, but perhaps not for his footballing beliefs. But Man City obviously picking up the title with that 3-1 win over West Ham, meaning that they've won the title now for the record fourth time in a row, which, of course, has never ever been done before.
Yeah, I've not spoke to him this morning, but I'm pretty sure that he'll be feeling depressed that United should finish the season so poorly in 8th place. But as you say, he'll be pleased that he got it right over the payout of Manchester City a month early. That cost him $750,000, so at least he didn't have to pay out twice.
Yeah, and it looked as if when West Ham did get that goal back, there might be an upset on the cards, but obviously that wasn't to be the case. Phil Foden turning up once again when his team most needed him. And he's just about dispelled any bit of criticism that could be put to him this season, hasn't he?
Well, I don't think there's been much criticism of him. He's been phenomenal virtually from the word go. He's won all the individual awards that's going. More to come on that front. And the only person who doesn't seem to realise all this is Gareth Southgate. He wants to just decide that Phil Foden is the best player in the country, play him in his rightful position, right slap bang number 10 in the middle of the England team, and then make everybody else play around him. I mean, borderline better than Bellingham. Certainly he got ahead of Saka now. He is the best player in the country. And it's not just because he plays at Manchester City. You can see his control, his goal scoring is phenomenal. I mean, I was looking there at the goal scoring. He's right up there amongst the top goal scorers in the country, which is fantastic for a player who plays generally in midfield. Haaland won that, incidentally. Surprise, surprise. So it was, as soon as he scored that first goal, it was just a matter of let's wait 90 minutes and then City fans will be celebrating.
And then if there was any doubt, that was obviously dispelled by Rodri's late strike, who always seems to turn up on the big occasion as well. He's been phenomenal this season, much like Phil Foden, as you say, and he's really showed why he has picked up that Player of the Season award, Foden.
Yeah, well, as Foden takes all the plaudits and the glory with his goals, Rodri is the one who just holds it all together. A bit like Roy Keane in the famous United teams of the past. He didn't necessarily get the headlines, apart from when he was banging on about prawn cocktails and the like, but he used to just do their job and hold the midfield together, and that's exactly what Rodri does now.
And obviously Arsenal did get the job done in their game, just about. They won 2-1 over Everton with a late strike from Kai Havertz, but that wasn't enough, as we know. But there was rumours around the stadium at the Emirates that City had gone behind to West Ham early on, and they were sort of videos circulating around social media, which were quite amusing, of Arsenal fans cheering to the thought that City had fell behind, but they were all wrong. Someone started a fake rumour.
That's the first social media wrong. Anyway, we've already got the odds for next season. Our trade has been very busy indeed. Betfred, not surprisingly, have Manchester City as the favourites to win the title for a 5th time on the run. They're evens to do so for next season. Not this season, next season. Arsenal, 2-1, second favourites. Liverpool, who won't have Klopp there, 8-1. Chelsea, now they sneaked into that top 6 finish now, haven't they? They're now 12-1 to win the title next season. I know you're all waiting for this, but Manchester United and Newcastle United, they're both locked on 25-1 to win the title at the end of the 2025. Crystal Palace, now they've come really good of late. They're one to think about. They're 200-1 at Betfred to win the title next year. Of the promoted clubs, we know 2 of those so far, Ipswich and Leicester. They're both 1,000 to 1 to win the title next year. And then we've got, these will be the teams that will be struggling. Wolves, Nottingham Forest, Fulham, they're all 500 to 1. As are Everton. I'm surprised at that. I thought they'd get, the odds wouldn't be as good as that, but they're 500 to 1. Brentford, I think they might struggle it next season, 500 to 1. Bournemouth, 500 to 1. And then West Ham, again under a different manager, they're 250 to 1 for the title. Brighton, also with a different manager, 150 to 1. Aston Villa, well, we think they might have burst a bubble to an extent. They're 66 to 1 now to win the title in 2025.
And just touching on United, they obviously won 2-0 away to Brighton, ending the season on a high and some much needed momentum, hopefully, to go towards that FA Cup final.
Well, I don't agree with you on the idea that they've left the season on a high. They won at Brighton, but I do agree with you that at least they go into the final with some momentum, where all the odds are at Betfred and elsewhere that it will be odds on City to win that. What will be interesting is if United win the FA Cup, City have already won 4 titles on the run. What sort of a parade are we going to have? Or are we bothering with parades this year? Because you wonder which is the greatest achievement from United's point of view, to actually win something, as opposed to City just dominating things and winning again. Some people think that City should have done better than just win the title, Champions League, for instance. But to get the double, that'll justify having a parade for City.
Yeah, I'm sure it would. I think United would need a parade if they were to pull off that miracle. But yeah, we can always hope. But as you say, ended it on a high in terms of a win, but it was an 8th place finish in the end for United, which is their worst since Sir Alex Ferguson left the club.
Yeah, it's been pretty poor, basically, hasn't it? I mean, how many times we've sat here and talked about United being inconsistent, the failure of the vast majority of Ten Hag's signings, Ten Hag's demeanour sort of changes every single week, from having to go at the press, praising the press, blaming injuries. He's never had a settled side, that's to be fair to him. But also the tactics have been left wanting on many occasions. He doesn't seem as if he's got the ethos of United, which is effectively a fantastic counter-attacking team. He didn't start with one of his signings, Hoyland, and then he did score in the end, didn't he? At Brighton, Anthony, very poor. You just wonder about what's going to happen with him at the end of the FA Cup final.
Yeah, I think a lot will rest on what happens in that final. But from his sort of speech at the end of the last home game of the season, I think you could read a lot from that in terms of, he didn't really look like a man that knew he was leaving, so he might have a chance to turn it round next season if Ineos are feeling generous.
Well, I got the impression that he had to say all that. He was expected to, and he came across well. And he was brought in to be a disciplinarian. And when he has acted as a disciplinarian, such as the Sancho case and the Greenwood case, he's even got criticised for that. Whichever thing he does, he gets it in the neck. But I think that the way that the club's formulating, with top people being brought into the top jobs at the club, it would seem illogical if they didn't make a change in this key area of the manager of the first team. So the odds are that he'll be shown the exit door. But he could turn it round with a great win against Manchester City at Wembley next Saturday. And also in his favour is there aren't that many great managers around at the moment. Just nobody around who they could immediately recruit into replace him. But they will make a decision quickly, otherwise they'll go through the transfer window in the summer with Ten Hag and then bring somebody else in, and he'll be having to gel the players he wouldn't necessarily want.
Yeah, I do think if they are going to move him on, I think they'll need to do that quickly, as you say. And I do think that's the reason why they probably won't go with Gareth Southgate, because they'll obviously have to wait till after the tournament. So
yeah, that's a fair point.
But just moving on to the Betfred Challenge Cup now. The semi-final ties took place over the weekend, of course, and now we know the two finalists.
Yeah, some people say these were predictable results, but they were. Warrington were odds on to beat Huddersfield, as Wigan were to beat Hull KR, and that's how it proved to be. Warrington, they were fairly straightforward winners against Huddersfield at the Totally Wicked Stadium. 46-10 they won. And also Wigan, they played in Doncaster and they won 38-6 against Hull KR. So we ended up in a situation where we've got two Lancashire teams in the final at Wembley on June the 8th. And to win that, Betfred have Wigan 4-9 favourites and the Wire 13-8. So we have got a great all-Lancashire final at Wembley on June the 8th.
Yeah, that should be a great spectacle. And just touching on the Betfred Super League, that's getting quite interesting, isn't it, as well?
Well, we've still got lots of teams jockeying for position at the top of the table. And we've got 4 teams all on 16 points. Wigan are the favourites. Not only are they the holders, but they played one game less. And Betfred have Wigan 11-10 to win the grand final. Saints 5-2. The Wire 15-2. And Catalan Dragons, who are the team that are always there or thereabouts, they're 8-1. Word is that Tommy Makinson, who has been a stalwart winger for St Helens for 14 years, well touted as the best winger in the whole of the Betfred Super League era. He's decided he's going to leave St Helens, and there's a lot of speculation about where he's going to go. All indications are he's going to go to Catalan Dragons, because there's talk of him wanting a new start for his young family, and that's the most likely destination. Although there is a prospect he could go to Australia, but his age will be against him for that.
Well, thank you very much, Peter, as always, for joining us. And make sure you stick around for Friday's show. We'll be talking all things FA Cup. We'll have all the odds for that one. But for now, thank you as always. If you do fancy a bet, you can bet online, on the app, or in Betfred stores. And we'll see you at the same time on Friday.
No problem at all.
Tameside Radio Sports Talk with Betfred. Visit your local Betfred shop today for a variety of great offers and check out our app for great features like Pick Your Punts Builder. Whenever you bet, Betfred. 18+, begambleaware.org.